Recently, leaders from Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Turkey met in Mecca to sign a joint defense agreement. The core of this pact is highly specific. An armed attack on any one of these three nations is treated as an armed aggression against all of them. To understand the weight of this alliance, look at what each member brings to the table. Turkey contributes a highly trained and modern military, alongside cutting-edge drone technology. Saudi Arabia fuels the operation. They bring massive financial reserves and the immense leverage of controlling the world's second-largest oil supply. And Pakistan anchors the triad with a massive ground force, plus the Islamic world's only active nuclear arsenal. Following the agreement, Pakistan's defense minister conspicuously left the door open regarding a nuclear protection clause. This strongly suggests Pakistan is willing to extend its nuclear umbrella to shield both Saudi Arabia and Turkey if necessary. It is a significant strategic pivot. Barely a year ago, Pakistan was struggling to avoid debt defaults and requesting foreign bailouts. Today, they have successfully positioned themselves as a primary security provider for the Middle East. Looking at this map of the Middle East and South Asia, we can trace the exact shape of this new axis connecting Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan. This alliance didn't spring up in a vacuum. It formed to fill a very specific void left by the eroding influence of the United States in the region. While Pakistan's strategic value rises, India's diplomatic influence in the region is receding. Gulf nations that long served as reliable partners for New Delhi are now distancing themselves from Indian interests. To understand this shift, we need to examine how the United States lost its position as the region's primary security provider and why current Indian policy is leaving its traditional allies with fewer options but to seek security in this new Pakistan-led bloc. The timeline of this regional fracture points directly to October 2023. Following the Hamas attacks, Israel launched a massive military campaign across the Gaza Strip that resulted in widespread urban destruction. The conflict quickly spilled outward. A critical breaking point occurred when Israel assassinated a key Hamas negotiator inside Qatar, a neutral sovereign nation. For the surrounding Gulf states, this proved that the violence was expanding beyond Gaza. More importantly, it showed that the United States was unwilling to restrain Israel's military actions and would not prioritize the diplomatic safety of its Arab allies over Israeli objectives. American military protection soon failed entirely. When Iran launched a barrage of missiles and drones at regional targets, the U.S. was unable to adequately defend Saudi facilities or even its own military bases. Between active Israeli military operations and the failure of the American defense umbrella, Gulf leaders recognized a stark reality. They had to build their own independent security architecture. There is a wrinkle in the timeline, though. If Iran is the primary military threat to these nations, why did Saudi Arabia and Pakistan start drafting their mutual defense pact months before the Iranian missile strikes escalated? The answer points back to Washington. This alliance is equally designed to counter intense diplomatic pressure from the United States, specifically the push to force Saudi Arabia into the Abraham Accords and normalize relations with Israel. The U.S. administration has gone so far as to leverage Saudi Arabia's civil nuclear deal, threatening to stall the project entirely unless Riyadh signs the accords. By locking in a powerful military bloc with Turkey and Pakistan, Saudi Arabia gains a crucial strategic buffer. They now have the military backing to reject American ultimatums and operate independently of U.S.-Israeli demands. For decades, India successfully navigated the Middle East using a doctrine of non-alignment. By staying out of formal military blocs, New Delhi maintained balanced, productive relationships across the entire region. That doctrine has now been abandoned. Instead of maintaining neutrality, India's leadership has chosen to offer highly visible, unconditional support for Israel's military campaign. The optics are impossible to ignore. At the exact moment the Islamic world is consolidating its own security network to protect against regional instability, India is actively embracing their biggest perceived security threat. Naturally, this is driving Muslim nations further away from New Delhi. The contrast in diplomatic capital is sharp. While India loses regional traction, Pakistan is currently serving as a key venue and mediator for U.S.-Iran ceasefire negotiations. This development contradicts the core objective of the Ministry of External Affairs. After years of diplomatic efforts to isolate Pakistan on the global stage, New Delhi is now watching Islamabad integrate into the region's most significant new military alliance. This diplomatic isolation carries severe economic risks for India. Crucial global shipping routes through the Red Sea and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait are facing constant armed attacks, directly threatening India's maritime trade. By distancing itself from historical regional partners and aligning with a declining American security model, India risks becoming a peripheral player in Middle Eastern affairs. If a new regional crisis erupts, New Delhi may lack the diplomatic network required to protect its interests, leaving it to navigate the fallout without its traditional allies.